Yes, I know this is going to shatter some ego persona, but my hatred of the world as it stood when I was born was left over from the room that was my grandmother's kitchen, which was ghetto beautiful in the yellow and brown of 1960 tar cigarette. She did not smoke, but she had 10 children, and my mother did not smoke, but I believe every single other one may have. Most of them a lot. And so when you would spend time in the kitchen with my grandmother, it would get very, very smoky, and it would be very hard to sit and speak and not choke. So and it was very small room. It was maybe 10 by 10, 10, maybe 10 by maybe 15. I don't know, maybe by 20. 15, 10 by 20, maybe at the long end of going to the back door to get out, to breathe. But my point is that you hear things that you've cataracted in this life. Your parents were in different countries. They were, you had World War II, nasty things. I didn't have any of that. I had one grandfather who survived when I was born, and one grandmother, and I'm sorry, two grandmothers. Angelina from Italy with Antonine, and they only spoke Italiano in the house. She was very patient, and she was absolutely in love with me. And she would sing, and I used to only stop crying when they would speak, because they would speak, and it would be like just song, just to listen to the Italian between. They could say, like read the dictionary, and it just sounded like music. So for me, that was beautiful. But she had a brain tumor and died when I was like 2, which broke him because he was 10 years younger. And he would sit sometimes and cry, and then it would make me cry. And so he tried not to. But then he also, he said, well, no, I'm crying about her, but more so because I have memories of the war. And then he would tell me about he said, I don't want to talk about it because it was very messy. He said, and I had to take care of the men on the ground. He said, I would not touch the pistole, so the gun. He would never touch the gun, but he would medic the wounded. And he walked all through Albania and Yugoslavia and so on and so forth, from Italy, from Alonso, when he was young. And that was the only, he wouldn't talk about it, and he didn't use guns. They don't believe in violence, which is fine. At like street level, in Candyland of just trying to raise your family, I agree. But that is not everybody's life in the planet. There is evil that does things that needs to be addressed in a different manner to hold security and people in check and give them motivation to not move things in a more harmful direction for everybody until it is fixed. So that is that. And as far as Marie, yeah, no, she died of a very painful death. She had gotten MS and Luke Gerigs disease and died when she was maybe 72. That was Myriah Gundar. She just withered away to nothing. She couldn't walk. She couldn't swallow. It was horrible. And Antonine got Parkinson's towards the end and was walking and his legs didn't work and he fell and broke his neck. and then died of pneumonia. That is on his side. And Angelina she had a brain tumor, but she died at like 90 something. But what upsets me about this is that you hear these things and you think like everybody is just so rich. It all depends, because he is a lot more wealthy than I am. But in the system, you would think, based on the legends and the crowd he runs with, that I am some, liar or some sort or whatever. That is so not the case. I don't know what you tell each other. And then I only know the only Jews that I've met are from Long Island. I would not call myself a Jew if you want to be self-respected outside. Although I did meet two directly from Israel. I totally appreciated, because they had that European panache, not the nasty witch of Lloyd Harbor nasty faces. Because I'm not Jewish. I don't pretend to be Jewish. I go back in history, but it's more of in the occult than it is anything specific, because that was the way of communicating through all the institutions. And it's you that called yourself a Hebrew. And then we have special words like the Hebrew, the Bruchaha, and so on and so forth. But again, those were our special private communications. But I don't prefer one person necessarily, or people, over the other. It's just that because the whole nest is the whole nest. It's the whole hive. It's hive. I take care of everybody in the hive. But I know that not everybody in the hive gets along with everybody else. I have heard stories, but not in great detail either. So please do not assume that because I say a story that I know what's going on elsewhere, because then you harbor resentment against me and then move things in other directions. But just know that I've been sitting in isolation to wait for this life to begin. There was no life before that was important, except in legend, so you don't scare yourself about who I'm going to be, and you become more helpful. And then there's no